Hey guys, and welcome to the best ships in Starfield. These player-made ships unleash the full power of Bethesda's ship creation system. I'll be making a video on where you can find the best Class C ships in the game very soon, but as for now, enjoy this rundown of some truly incredible community creations. This is Starfield player Morphalaf's so-called Unbeatable Ship. It looks like flying scaffolding, but they say it causes havoc with the enemy AI. That's because they're designed to shoot at the center of targets, but with this ship, there is no center. As Morphalaf says in their Reddit post, it's much bigger than it looks in the builder, and it's actually max size on length, width, and height. So they've really pushed the boat out with this build. Now, you don't need it to look exactly like this. If you want to game the AI in Starfield and make it so you'll never be hit, all you need is an L shape with a tower on one side. As long as there's nothing in the center point of your ship, you'll be fine. If you're looking for where to get these parts, Nova on Titan sells some really nice hab units that are basically horizontal tunnels. HopeTech also does this as well, but they're slightly more weight. If you want the HopeTech ones, go to their headquarters in the Valo system. And hey, if you're not getting hit, at least you don't need to charge up your shields because they'll literally never be used. As one Reddit user writes in response to Morphalaf's post, this looks like a thumbnail for a Call of Duty map. Another one said it corners great because it's all corners. Lord help you if you don't use the fast travel option to get to the cockpit. Okay, next up, Starfield player Snake Muho has managed to make a pirate ship, but in space. This is an incredible idea, but of course, Disney had the exact same one 20 years ago. I love that film. I really like how Snake Muho manages to evoke the look of sails without actually having any sails in the game. They've just been really creative with parts, and it definitely took a lot of parts. They write on their Reddit post, "Yes, lol, I'm playing with unstable 30 FPS that usually stutters for a few seconds when I pause and unpause the game. Potato settings do help a lot, but I have to take occasional breaks for the sake of my eyes. Suffering for art." This ship is a homage to the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean. The creators even gone so far as to deck out their character to look like the legendary pirate captain Jack Sparrow. If you want to emulate this look, it's the first mercenary outfit you get off a guy late into the Freestar Collective questline on Aquila, plus the Space Trucker haul wrap that's usually sold in general goods stores. There's no official guide on how to make this, but if you want to get every ship part in Starfield, check out the video above which shows you the location of every single shipyard vendor in the game. There is always a Thomas the Tank Engine mod, but I really did not expect it to come so soon. So good on creator Mr. Kane 332 for delivering this insane ship design that is quite literally off the rails. They've recreated Thomas in all of his glory, but blown up like 20 times bigger and capable of blasting into space, which the normal Thomas can only dream of. This isn't something you'd be able to do without mods, however, as Mr. Kane 332 says on their Reddit post, "For all my big builds, I use console cheats. While I won't accuse any of these players of cheating to build these, they say, I can only assume some people added a gazillion credits to get all of their ships built." End quote. So that means entering commands on PC to give yourself endless credits and ship parts. I mean, if it helps enable mad stuff like this, there is no judgment from me. Imagine this chasing after you in space, absolutely terrifying. With this Thomas the Tank Engine mod already steaming into Starfield, we are just days away from a Macho Man Randy Savage ship. I can just feel it. Good news everyone, someone's gone and made a Planet Express ship from Futurama. That someone is SP7R, and over on Reddit they've even been so kind as to make a step-by-step tutorial, which I have no intention of following because I do not have the attention span. But the even gooder news is that you can make this entirely without mods. Apparently the value of the ship is only 7,500 credits, which is roughly the cost of a decent apartment in the game. My guide to getting all the player homes in Starfield is above this video, just popped up. SP7R does say they modded the game to give themselves all the right ship parts, which they did using a download on Nexus mods called Shipyards Unlocked. This gives every vendor in the game every ship part to sell, but you can totally do this unmodded on Xbox box if you don't mind traipsing across the star systems. On the subject of Futurama, Starfield player Kofefi Poops has made a ship Zoidberg would love to get his claws on. Simply called Crab, all in caps, this ship is a homage to crustaceans everywhere, opening up the door to shrimp and even lobsters ships down the line. You can only dream. Thankfully, unlike crabs, it doesn't have to fly everywhere sideways. Next up, we have Mass Effect's Normandy. Quite a lot of Normandies, in fact, because loads of players have attempted to make one of the most famous ships in gaming. So I'm going to show off a couple right here. This one's by Neok182, which nails the color scheme. The creator says they use the Stronghold ship as a template, and the Stronghold ship you can get from Aquila. Next up, we have this Normandy by Bizzle94588, which I think looks even more accurate and captures the sleekness of the original ship. Over on Reddit, they've posted a full list of the exact parts they use, which you can find by googling their name Bizzle94588. Very helpful and very handy. Third up, we have Astalda's contribution to the Normandy discourse with this very strong offering and bonus points for labeling up each ship parts. The Starfield shipbuilding community is very helpful. And finally, here's a Normandy by Starfield player Darkest Brew. Someone in the comments called this a Spooderman version of the Normandy, and I would have to agree with that assessment. Check out this incredible creation by Big Jim Webb, which is more of a tank than a spaceship. It doesn't even look like it can fly, with a huge railgun at the center and a control tower overseeing the whole operation. But fly it can, courtesy of a Class C reactor powering 3 engines. Big Jim Webb calls this thing the X-34 Dreadnought, which is pretty fitting because this is one of the most terrifying Starfield ships I've seen yet. There are no shortage of people making homages to ships from Star Trek and Star Wars, but this replica is one of the best by far. It's by Starfield player The Mighty Milkman, and it recreates the very sleek Republic cruiser. Here's an image of the real thing for comparison. Now, the reason this is better than the Millennium Falcons and X-Wings that I've seen is because it's so accurate, absolutely nailing the look of the Star Wars ship. According to The Mighty Milkman, quote, "The tricky thing was getting the front of the ship. You can't put structure pieces directly on the front of the cockpit, so you got to glitch them together. For that, just snap the piece where you want it clipped and then flip it. Because for some reason, when you cancel the placement, after that, the game reverts back where it was." End quote. Unfortunately though, The Mighty Milkman said it has resulted in a piece of the ship glitching straight through the cockpit. Still, looks good from the outside. Starfield player Grunge Cowboy has been busy making a trio of ships that make mind-blowing use of the shipbuilder. First up, the Bird of Prey from Star Trek, a Klingon ship introduced in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Here's a comparison with the real thing. They've also made the USS Enterprise, which really pushes the shipbuilding to its limits. It doesn't exactly recreate the design of Star Trek's iconic ship, which would be very hard to do, but it looks very cool regardless. And finally, they've also made the USS Voyager. Very nice job again. Really highlights my own lack of imagination. People have also been making Star Destroyers. Check out this by Jack Gold. It's absolutely huge. This might be the biggest ship anyone has made in Starfield so far. So you can bet this thing needed mods. It looks basically like hundreds of missiles stacked together. If you wanted to recreate this for yourself without mods, Starfield player Jasper has you covered. They've managed to make a slightly smaller version, so let this sink into your mind and memorize exactly how it looks before we move on to our next ship right now, which is by Mr. Passionate Man. Not a bad effort, but I do spot 2 rather massive weak points. And lastly, a school bus. From the mind that brought you the Planet Express ship, it's a flying yellow school bus by SP7R. And not just any school bus, but the magic school bus from the show of the same name. You can't use it to shrink down and fly into someone's bloodstream in an educational adventure to learn all about the inner workings of the human body, but you can fire a missile into a group of innocent men and blow them sky high, which is a lot better. So those were the best player-created ships in Starfield. So many amazing creations by the community here, but which one is your favorite? For me, it's Crab. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and for more Starfield guides, subscribe to the channel.